Good morning, beautiful souls. I have been debating whether to share my health journey with you on this YouTube channel. And with much prayer, I have decided it would do more good than harm to share the journey, because I had 5 people call me today and inquire what's going on with my health. And so I have decided to put it to video. So let me go ahead and explain what has happened up until this point.
Hallelujah, I am free, bound by love eternally. In the darkness I can see your light shining over me. Mountains move when faith is strong, even when the road feels long. In my heart a sacred song lifts me up where I belong. Hands raised high, I give my all, even when I stumble, fall. Through the silence, hear the call. Mercy catches when I crawl. Hallelujah, I am free.
So I got this letter in the mail for my insurance, in order to keep my insurance. And I said to myself, you know what? I'd better go to the doctor to show proof that I need the insurance. So the first doctor I went to was the primary doctor. And because I hadn't gone to the doctor in like 15 years, she sent me to all these specialists so she could get a baseline of my health, because I hadn't been to the doctor literally in like 15, 17 years, maybe even 20, you know? So the first doctor I went to was the mammogram doctor. So they took a mammogram of my breast, and I was having trouble, standing, because I have the walker. And I said, I really need to sit down. But for whatever the reason, they couldn't sit me down. So they were having trouble with the images, but they finally got them. Then the next doctor I went to was the OBGYN. The OBGYN was going to do a normal routine examination, but while she was there, she saw a polyp in my vagina, so she took a biopsy that came back benign. But she called me and she said, hey, I have to, operate, because your polyp is the size of a golf ball. I said, what? My polyp is the size of a golf ball? She said, does it bother you at all? And I said, no. And she said, well, I'd like you to come back in and discuss about having surgery. So now in the interim, the breast doctor had called me and said, hey, we want to do another slide of your breast exam. Well, I called them back and said, no, my breasts are dense and fibrous anyway, and I don't think you should get paid for re-examining my breast when you should have did it the right way, right? That's what I told them, because I thought I was fine. And then I found out I had a golf-sized polyp in my vagina by the OBGYN, so I called the breast doctor back and said, yeah, I think it's a good idea. You better recheck me, because if you have, polyps in your vagina, you might have, cysts in your breast and so forth. It's all connected, right? So I went back to the breast doctor on the 16th, and that's when they did the biopsy and put a titanium rod next to my tumor. Now, my tumor is only 1.4 centimeters, so it's not that It's not that big. And I looked in my patient portal, and my lifetime chances of having cancer is only 11.4%. So I'm like, oh, I don't have cancer. I weigh this amount. Does it look like I have cancer? So I just went about my life. Well, Thursday, they called me and said that I was positive for breast cancer. Now, I was listening to that call, and I thought they were going to say, oh, it's fine, there's nothing to worry about. But so I just found out that Thursday the 19th, I found out that I do indeed have breast cancer. I found out that I have a golf-sized polyp on my vagina on the 13th. So it's kind of still surreal. Like, sometimes I can talk about it just fine, and other times I start crying about it. So on Saturday, the 21st, I started crying, and I started, like, taking stock of life. Like, well, I definitely don't want chemo, and I definitely don't want radiation, and, and I just started worrying about it on Saturday night. Saturday night, I called the pastor, and I said, Pastor Doug, can you anoint me with oil? Can you anoint my body with oil? And can the whole church pray for me? So I was getting depressed, and I said, Annie, take your own advice. Put yourself in the prayer book. So I did that. So, and not only that, but also Thursday, some friends called me and said, hey, I've been wondering about you. And I told them that I had breast cancer. It was just by coincidence, some old friends called me. Well, and I gave that friend permission to tell other friends, OG friends, So they did. So by the time Sunday came around, the 22nd, I had my church praying for me, anointing me with oil. I had another church praying for me through an old college nursing friend of mine. And when I was at Fun Friday, breast cancer, I don't know how, but breast cancer came up when I was at Fun Friday on the 19th. Sorry, on the 20th. And so some kids ran and got their pastor, some teenagers ran and got their pastor. And so I even had some pastors at Fun Friday pray for me. A whole group of people put their hands on me and pray for me. So I have, at this point, I have 3 churches praying for me. I have 300 people praying for me. I have found 10 people gave me their numbers and said, hey, if you need me, call me. 8 of those people are surviving breast cancer. 1 person is surviving lung cancer, and another person is surviving thyroid and cervical cancer. And we're talking survivors for 20 years or better, So I have a feeling, I'm almost positive I'm going to beat this without radiation or chemotherapy, because the doctor told me I have the most common form of breast cancer. It is called invasive ductal carcinoma. I don't know what grade, I don't know what stage, because we have to go in and look at it, So let me explain what invasive ductal carcinoma is. This is what I do know, okay? Invasive ductal carcinoma is the most common form of breast cancer. And what it is our breasts have mammary glands, right? Milk glands, because we feed our babies with our breasts if you're a woman, right? And so these mammillary glands have ducts going from the gland to the nipple so that your baby can get milk. Well, invasive ductal carcinoma is that the cancer is in a small spot on these ducts in your breast. Okay? So the doctors don't know what kind of cancer it is because there's lots of cancer in our bodies, and it's named by the shape, the size, the what's growing on the cancer, you know. So since they don't know, since they cannot identify my cancer, it's called invasive ductal carcinoma because it's on the ducts in my breast. So that's what invasive ductal carcinoma is, guys. Also, 1 in 4 women have breast cancer, are living with no, I think it's 1 in 8. Sorry, 1 in 8. So that's the kind of breast cancer I have, and I right now, as I sit here right now, I do not want chemo. I do not want radiation because chemo zaps the life out of you, really zaps the life out of you. And I don't want to die trying to live. You know, I want to have quality of life. So some people this is why I want to make these videos on YouTube, because some of my YouTube subscribers were asking, well, are you going to continue with Crafts for Hope? Well, are you going to do Fun Friday? Well, are you going to do Community Day Saturday at the Salvation Army? Yes, guys, I'm going to continue to do everything I'm going to do with Crafts for Hope. You know, I'm going to live my life. I don't want to, just crawl in a bed and wait for death to overtake me. That's not the way cancer works. Because there's, like I said, 1 in 8 people are surviving cancer and walking around with cancer right now and living and having a good life. So now what am I doing about that golf-sized polyp? Okay, so I went to the hospital for pre-admission testing on the 23rd of June, and I will be having a operation to remove the golf-sized polyp on my vaginal wall. I have no idea why that's not bothering me. On July 2nd. And through it all, I have a friend who, well, you guys know Michelle, in the comment section. Michelle is taking me to all my appointments. All my OBGYN appointments and all my breast cancer appointments. So Michelle has been a wonderful friend. Thank you, Michelle, for being there for me. Thank you for those of you who are sharing your number and telling me I could call you. That is why I bought these breast cancer awareness keychains, so that I could give all of you a magnet and a card to show you how much I appreciate you. So I'll be going in Wednesday to get an operation for the polyp. Now, when the doctor called me and said I was positive for breast cancer, she forgot to tell me to call the oncologist that's going to operate myself. So Thursday, I found out. I heard nothing Friday. Monday, I called the primary care provider back. she said that I was supposed to call the oncologist, so I did, and I don't see the oncologist, the doctor, the surgical oncologist, until the 11th. Well, I freaked out and started crying again and said, "What? That's way too far away. I can't wait till the 11th." So I called my insurance and got another oncologist who's an intern. So I'm going to see the intern on the, I'm going to see the intern on the 7th, and I'm going to see the surgical oncologist on the 11th. So please pray for me there. Just trying to see. Now, I went to the heart house because I have high blood pressure. I went to the heart house on the 27th and on Friday the 27th, and they want me to come back Monday the 30th to get a PET scan, a CAT scan stress test to be cleared for surgery on Wednesday. So, I'm sorry, I just gave you some misinformation. I'm going to get the PET scan, CAT scan stress test for my heart on Tuesday the 1st so that I can get the operation for the OBGYN, the cervical operation, on the 2nd. So there's a lot going on. But keep me in your prayers because the Crafts for Hope stuff is all going to continue as planned. All I need is prayers.